Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the Donald Trump Stormy Daniels situation as it relates to the possible indictment? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, including the timeline of the alleged incident, move to the controversy surrounding potential charges, then offer my analysis. This case involves Donald Trump, who served as the 45th President of the United States from 2017 to 2021, and an adult movie actress named Stephanie Gregory Clifford, who goes by the name Stormy Daniels. According to Stormy, in July 2006, when she was 27 and Donald Trump was 60, she met him at Lake Tahoe in Nevada. Donald was the star of the NBC TV show The Apprentice and was at a celebrity golf tournament in Nevada. Stormy said that Donald invited her to dinner ostensibly to talk about her being on The Apprentice. She met him at his hotel room and they had sex. I guess one could say it was a dark and stormy night. Later, Donald invited Stormy to a launch party for his vodka brand in California and to his office in Trump Tower in New York City. In July 2007, a year after the alleged sexual encounter, Donald wanted to talk to Stormy about appearing on the TV show Celebrity Apprentice. He met her at the Beverly Hills Hotel in Los Angeles, California, but no sex occurred. In August, Donald called Stormy and informed her that he was unable to get her on the show. Again, this is all according to Stormy Daniels. In May 2011, Stormy was interviewed by a magazine called In Touch. She talked about her alleged encounter with Donald. She was supposed to receive $15,000 for this interview, but she never did. Two employees of the magazine later reported to the media that the interview was never released because Donald's attorney, Michael Cohen, threatened to sue the magazine. Stormy said that a few weeks later, a mysterious man approached her in Las Vegas and told her to leave Trump alone and forget the story. In July 2016, Donald Trump was nominated for president by the Republican Party. Little did Donald know, but he was in the eye of the storm. On October 9 of that same year, Michael Cohen negotiated a deal with Stormy Daniels in order to prevent her from stealing Donald's thunder. She was to be paid $130,000 in exchange for the rights to her story and a non-disclosure agreement. On October 17, Michael filed paperwork in the state of Delaware to incorporate a company called Essential Consultants, LLC. On October 26, Michael opened a bank account using this company and transferred $131,000 into it. The money came from a home equity line of credit. On October 27, 2016, Michael wired $130,000 to Stormy Daniels. In January 2017, Michael asked the Trump Organization for about $180,000. He was paid $420,000 over the next year. The same month, January, Donald Trump was sworn in as the 45th President of the United States. About a year later, an article about the situation with Stormy was published in the Wall Street Journal. It contained information about Michael Cohen and the $130,000 payment. Michael said that Donald denied having the affair, but Michael did not mention the payment. On February 13, Michael's story changed. He claimed that he did make the payment to Stormy, but he denied being reimbursed. Michael specifically said that the Trump Organization had nothing to do with the payment. On March 6, 2018, Stormy filed a lawsuit against Donald Trump and Essential Consultants, LLC to nullify the non-disclosure agreement. On April 5, Donald Trump said he was unaware of the payment to Stormy Daniels. 4 days later, the FBI executed a search warrant of Michael Cohen's office and residence. On May 3, Donald sent out a tweet saying that Michael Cohen received a monthly retainer that had nothing to do with the presidential campaign. On August 21, 2018, Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to 8 charges in federal court in Manhattan, including fraud, campaign finance violations, and tax evasion. Michael said the payment to Stormy Daniels was made at the direction of Donald Trump. Michael was sentenced to 3 years in prison in December. The president could have pardoned Michael, but it appears as though Donald was a fair-weather friend. On November 2, 2021, a man named Alvin Bragg was elected as the Manhattan District Attorney. On January 17, 2023, Michael Cohen met with investigators from the District Attorney's office. On January 30, an article in the New York Times indicated that Alvin Bragg convened a grand jury to look into the Stormy Daniels payment situation. On March 9, 2023, Donald Trump was invited to testify before the grand jury. 4 days later, an attorney for Donald Trump declined the invitation to testify. This same day, Michael Cohen testified before the grand jury. He testified again on March 15, 2023. It appears as though Alvin Bragg is seeking felony charges against Donald Trump. The theory is that Donald falsified business records when he reimbursed Michael Cohen and recorded it as a legal expense. Therefore, Donald was trying to hide a violation of election law. This is not an easy case for the government to win. The Federal Election Commission and federal prosecutors in New York both examined the Stormy Daniels payment situation and failed to take any action against Donald Trump. If these charges move forward, it will represent a legal theory that has never been tested in New York courts, and it will be the first time that a former U.S. president has faced criminal prosecution. Donald Trump maintains his innocence. He denied having sex with Stormy Daniels and has denied any wrongdoing. On Saturday, March 18, 2023, Donald Trump predicted that he would be arrested on Tuesday, March 21, 2023. But it's not clear from where he's getting his information. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. Was Donald Trump actually guilty of a crime as far as the Stormy Daniels payment? In my opinion, he probably was under a creative interpretation of the law, but proving this would be very difficult. The case would be plagued by several problems. 1. The charges appear to be politically motivated. Traditionally, former U.S. political leaders have not been harassed by prosecutors regarding relatively minor offenses. It seems like political retribution, and it's frowned upon. 2. Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen have severe credibility issues. And 3. In order to be found guilty, 12 members of the jury would have to vote for that verdict. If there was even one Donald Trump supporter on the jury, there would be little chance of a conviction. Item number 2. On March 18 and March 19, Donald Trump posted numerous messages on Truth Social, announcing his upcoming arrest and calling for his supporters to protest. Here's a summary of his posts. Much of this is paraphrased. Donald claimed that the United States was a third world country and the American dream is dead. He repeated the false claim that the presidential election was stolen. He said patriots were being arrested while criminals and leftist thugs were allowed to roam the streets. He talked about the problem at the border, crime, inflation, and increasing taxes. He asked Americans to protest. Donald Trump implied that Joe Biden was directing the Manhattan District Attorney. It's not clear what strategy Donald Trump is deploying in this situation, but considering how many people believe he attempted to start an insurrection, asking people to protest might not be the best tactic. Donald is trying to use his potential upcoming arrest to re-energize his effort to be elected president. If he is prosecuted, it probably will excite his supporters, but I don't think it will make much of a difference with people who are already tired of him. There is the sense that the Republican Party is ready to move on, but Donald Trump is stuck in the past. Item number 3. Alvin Bragg's effort to indict Donald Trump is almost certainly politically motivated. The charges that are being considered would not normally be a top priority for a Manhattan district attorney. Donald Trump's alleged offense is incorrectly categorizing a payment to someone he wanted to keep quiet. Not exactly the scandal of the century in the world of politics. It pales in comparison to other pressing matters in New York City. All of this really seems like a storm in a teacup. Some people think that Alvin Bragg made a colossal mistake, but others believe he is a genius. On the mistake side, one could argue that Alvin will transform Donald into a martyr and give Donald an actual chance of being elected president again. Essentially, Alvin is playing with fire. He doesn't realize that a lot of people still support Donald Trump. Even if Donald is convicted of a felony, he can still run for president. On the genius side, this political prosecution builds sympathy for Donald and allows him to reinvigorate his base. If Donald does not get the Republican nomination for president, he is in a good position for a third-party candidate run. This will destroy the chances of a Republican being elected president because it will split the Republican voters. The theories about Alvin Bragg are interesting, but I have not seen any evidence that Alvin is particularly strategic. He is motivated by his extreme left ideology. I think he is a simplistic individual who just wants revenge and desires to be a hero among the left. Alvin does not appear to be particularly rational or sophisticated and probably has not thought through the consequences of his behavior. Item number 4. The possible indictment of Donald Trump has brought out strong feelings on both sides of the political arena. Some supporters of the former president have rallied behind him and pointed out that this indictment proves Donald's assertion about corruption in politics. They don't seem to be aware of how Donald might be manipulating them. Some of those opposed to Donald appear to have developed a fixation on the details of his potential arrest, almost like they are giddy with excitement to see a political rival embarrassed. They are not aware of how petty their fascination with his arrest looks to the rest of the world. The extremes of both sides appear to have a lack of insight, which is a characteristic they share with Donald Trump, Alvin Bragg, and just about everyone else involved in this mess. It is the perfect storm of obliviousness. Now moving to my final thoughts. Just as Donald Trump would do anything to become president again, his enemies will do anything to prevent that outcome. It remains to be seen who, if anyone, will successfully weather the storm. I think Donald's possible indictment can be summarized in this way. A prejudiced and progressive prosecutor with paltry prudence perceived a puny prospect to prosecute a past president for the purpose of pursuing publicity. This political prosecution will provoke protests and pointless pandemonium, but it has a poor probability of producing a positive payoff. The predicament will promote persecution and propagate polarization, but it will not produce parity. Those are my thoughts on the possible indictment of Donald Trump. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.